Hey guys, welcome back, and hello to you new people too. Today I wanted to share a Halloween tutorial. This is my Sideshow Mermaid or Carnival Mermaid costume. My friends always do themed Halloween parties. We go every year, and one year the theme was Dark Carnivale. So I put together this, what I call a Sideshow Mermaid costume. And basically it's kind of like a mermaid, and she kind of has legs, but her legs are scaled. So I also put scales on the face. As you know, I'm not a professional makeup artist, but I thought that this was a look that should be easy enough that anybody could give it a try. So this is my attempt at recreating the costume that I wore a couple years ago. When I wore it before, I didn't do the scales in the face because the wig hides so much, but I really feel like the scales are kind of a fun touch, and you don't have to have such a ginormous wig. My wig is kind of a mess right now anyways. So basically, all you need for it is like a wig, scale leggings, like fish scale leggings, whatever you want to call them, and I wore like a corset top. So, you know, something like that, something you may actually have in your closet. Basically, I had about half the stuff I was going to wear from clubbing. Anyway, I thought that this would be a fun look to share with you instead of, you know, like the normal kitty costume or devil costume, which I like those too. Anyway, I'm going to stop babbling and I'm going to jump into the tutorial. I started by applying IT Cosmetics CC Cream in Fair, and I mixed it with the Body Shop Shade Adjusting Drops. Then I used a wig cap to help create the scales on my face. Basically, it gives you like a guideline. I took Sugar Pill Countess and UD All Nighter on a makeup sponge and basically put that around the perimeter of my face. I'm also going to take the same color later to use to sort of contour my cheeks. Basically, if you're somebody who actually applies bronzer on a daily basis, which I don't, take Countess and put that where you would put your bronzer. The next color I used was Sugar Pill Feral. Same method. I used that as like the next color, so I have like this burgundy to orange gradient. It felt very fall. By the way, having lash extensions and having that on your face is really uncomfortable. If I do this again, I'm going to cut little holes for my lashes because it drove me crazy and made it really hard for me to keep the wig cap on my face. There you can see I basically took the orange down sort of where I would apply blush if I was applying blush very high. Then I went back with Countess to sort of apply that color as more like a contour shade on my cheeks. Then I took Craftobian Glitter Glam in Opal Neon, which is like this really pretty pink and blue opal reflect. And I put that like at the center of my forehead and then along the top of my cheekbones. It's kind of like a highlight shade. It's a really thick gel-like texture, and you have to let it dry for a couple minutes. Like I fanned my face to dry it after I applied it. You could theoretically use this all over your face if you wanted to, but I didn't because I have 3 colors, I think, but I didn't want to use it all over my face. It is really pretty. I really like it. It's a thick gel, but I think it was perfect as like the accent. So carefully take off your wig cap, and then you're going to want to take some Sugar Pill Lumi and just kind of pat that on your face. After that, apply eyeshadow primer, and then I used Sugar Pill Countess to fill in my brows. And yeah, I put primer on top of my brows so that the eyeshadow would stick to that. I used Sugar Pill Taco as my base shade all over the lid. I took Suburbia and used that as my transitional shade, basically on the hood of my eye or in the crease. And then I used Sugar Pill Love Plus along the lower lid, and I winged it out. And then I worked it into the outer corner of my eye and my crease. Sorry, I don't know why my camera went out of focus here. It does this on occasion. It's really annoying. It's focusing on the background. Then I patted Sugar Pill 2 AM on my lid
And then I went back with a little bit of Sugar Pill Lumi and a damp brush and put that on top of Sugar Pill 2 AM to make this really pretty mermaidy color. I deepened the outer V area with Sugar Pill Poison Plum. Later I go back and do this with Bulletproof too, so if you don't want to do both colors you can just skip and go to Bulletproof, but I really thought doing both would add more dimension. I used a little bit of Suburbia here and blended out the crease. This is where I used Bulletproof to deepen that outer V. I put Sugar Pill Countess on top of Love Plus along the lower lid, and then I added this mascara. Don't use this mascara. This mascara smeared all over my face. Next I used Tarteist Clay Paint Liner in black to line the upper lash line and wing it out. And I also used it on the outer half of the lower lid, and then I used Urban Decay Legend on my waterline. I decided, hey, it's a Halloween look, I should go all out. Do wings. I love how it looks. I don't do these voiceovers very often because I feel like I'm running out of time when I do them and it makes me extremely nervous. I put Urban Decay 24/7 pencil and gash on my lips, and then I patted Sugar Pill Lumi on top.
Alright, I'm zoomed in so you can see the finished eye look and the scales. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and learned something new. I had a lot of fun putting it together, doing the fish scales. That's the first time I've done that, but it was really easy and I think it was really pretty. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share. I love it when you share my videos. And if you haven't already, go ahead and click that subscribe button so you don't miss my next video. Thanks so much for watching.